changes else could be made regarding those bus goals, but the opportunity to do what we could do is here, and that's what I will do. Okay, so I think that answers the question of what did I do in terms of what the executive board had to say. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of groundwork, a lot of talking, a lot of meeting, and a lot of time. It's easy to say do something, but where's the help? Where's the help? So, it's not that we left it as an unfinished item. We're going to do what concerns the constituents of our board and make sure that there's no negative impact with them as best we can. If that's something that goes throughout the city, then hell, Bronx Board 10 did something else innovative and good. Okay? That's what I always say. When we say no to something, we better have our reasoning and we better be prepared for what happens if our no isn't accepted. We cannot be peddling children. We have to be responsible citizens. So, just letting everyone know that is where we're at in terms of these bus bulbs, in terms of what we can do. I spoke with the vendors over there. I personally went, spoke with them. I have a lot of other thoughts of what should have happened, but that's water under a bridge at this point. But I spoke with them and let them know what it is was possible that we could try and do, and that they were appreciative of our efforts. And if we do, we'll have a press conference to say we were made a promise for our vendors. And those vendors said they would come out and say that, because even they said they realized that the city is not tearing up those bus poles. Okay, so again, I apologize. I do not like to show the public such displays. We should be able to deal with our issues internally and show a unified position when we do come. At the end of the day, we do as much as we can do. We try to go with sentiments and the desires of the community, and as long as we're getting that input, we're going to give the output. Yes.
Just have a comment and question, if that's okay?
Yes.
I also think that the bus goals are very dangerous, and I think that being that the executive board decided, some time back that they shouldn't be there, it should be somewhere in the record that this board feels that they're dangerous, and that's the reason why. Just in case something happens, I think we should be on the record.
No, but as a safety issue.
No, let me, again, went back to long records. We were supposed to have done that.
So we
Okay, no.
We told
We were
you.
supposed to have a committee, and we were gonna get together. They were gonna do that, they were gonna work with the merchants, and none of that happened.
But what I'm
Okay.
saying is this is in the past. So can
Excuse
we
me?
go close? This is in the past. I understand what happened, but I'm saying going forward, because that's what we can do, can't we in some way, write a letter to the person responsible that doesn't want to pull up the bus boat, that this is the reason why, and this board feels very strongly, and, at least that we're on the record. That's the comment. The question.
I can let you read the letter. This is what
I'm just asking.
This is the letter we're sending to the commissioner, and we'll go out and have a press conference. The gentleman from the corner store said he would come and he would speak. Okay? And he even looked at me and he said, "Come on, Mr. President, they're not going to tear up those bus bulbs." He said, "But at least protect me from having to be the one to clean it. Protect me from being the one that may be liable if anyone gets hurt on that bus bulb."
But that's my
and
question.
that's what we're going to try and do.
If the merchants aren't going to clean it, then who is going to? Because somebody's got to clean it.
Well, who do you think I'm trying to get to clean it, Mary Jane?
I don't know. That's my question.
Well, I'm not asking the fairies in the sky. We're talking to the city. We're talking to the city, and let me say this. That can give you the official city idioms for what we're going to be doing.
The bus bulbs are too big.
They sure are.
The pitch on the bus bulbs are wrong. At Zeringer Avenue, it's pitched towards the stores, so when it rains, they're going to get the vestibule for water. There's no catch basin.
You've gone out of bounds even first. Basically speaking, no. That's all you do.
He's right.
Okay.
Right. He's right.
What?
You are
Okay. There is a mechanism in government. Okay? There is a mechanism in government called a memorandum of understanding. A memorandum of understanding is a legal document, a legal document, an agreement, if you will, between agencies. There is an overriding memorandum that goes back 20 years, called the Leventhal Memorandum, of the deputy mayor, named Leventhal, who basically pointed out the responsibilities of the individual city agencies to do what on what. So we felt that the bus balls were like a Grand Amendola Plaza, where nobody takes responsibility for ever cleaning anything. So what we did was we came up with the idea of using the memorandum of understanding between the city's Department of Transportation and the city's Department of Sanitation and the MTA to basically point out who's going to be responsible for what. So the MTA will be responsible theoretically for cleaning immediately around the staircase of the stations. The Department of Transportation would be around to address problems with the sidewalks, if they should crack, if the concrete should be bad, making repairs. The Department of Sanitation would be putting a garbage can on the corner and by the bus stop, and also would sweep up when they do their general rounds. So that's the crux of the letter, and that's what we're trying to do.
Coming here tonight, I didn't realize that there was the bus stop by the town road. It comes out to the Hutchinson River Parkway service road. That's dangerous. Somebody's gonna get killed. Somebody's gonna get killed coming off the train, and the car that doesn't see it because the lighting is terrible. And it's not, and when you're driving there 50 years, you don't know out of nowhere there's a freaking street in the middle, a sidewalk in the middle of the street. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. I think it's a big safety issue, and I think that needs to be addressed. Safety on the pedestrian part and safety on the driver's part. Because, like I said, the lighting is terrible. You don't see them. They're not highlighting that it's there. But all of a sudden, it's there.
Okay, and that's true. And in that regard, okay, that is something that we, again, have to take a responsibility for. And we have to keep our eye on it, and we have to keep working with the city for what we do see happening. Just remember, the bulbs are still under construction. So we don't know what their lighting plan was, and we didn't talk with them about that because we said, no, we don't want them. We don't want them. We don't care. We don't want them. But you know what? You always got to be prepared. When a child tells a parent no, what does that mean? The parent is going to say, okay, fine. Sometimes no is going to, they're going to come back and say, well, we heard that you said no, we're going to do this. And it's that time that we have to be ready to make sure we look at those other particulars that are going to guarantee safety. We also have to monitor however these things progress. We do have to do that. And then the bottom line is this, okay? I'm going to say this. This is how I feel, all right? I know the danger of seeing people standing in the middle of the street waiting on the bus. That's just as dangerous too. So we have to look for a balance. And some people have to sacrifice some, okay? But we still look at that. That's why we're here as a board. We're supposed to have ideas and exchange those ideas and present those ideas. I can't,
to do anything.
no, but you have to monitor. And when things do happen, then you have to make sure you're annotating it, that you have it. You have that body of proof to prove what you're saying. But to just say, no, we don't want it, and then all these things are going to happen, we have to monitor to see if these things happen. And when they happen, we have to document them. And when we document them, we then go with them. Listen, Mary Jane, okay? There's a lot of what ifs in life. And we're always going to deal with the what ifs. But as I said, to be responsible, we have to monitor what happens there. If there's a loss of life there, then we scream that much more loud because, hey, we said this would happen. But, you know, you can always say suppose, but that may never come. And we may, we'll adjust to it, okay? But for us now, we have to look, well, should there be lighting there? Should there be benches there? Is there enough light there?
Yes, now.
To tell you the truth, when I got over there, my impression, and I saw it, you know, maybe at the time as a board, we should have looked to see if we could have got the city to do some of the other investment in that infrastructure when they were gonna do that. But we were so focused on saying no, that we didn't see beyond our own eyes. We're planning, we gotta look at the future, we gotta look at change, and we have to be a part of that. Okay? So, this is what we gotta try to do. Okay? Now, I went back, I reiterated as many times as possible that my board said no. You know what? The more I say what my board said, the more taciturn the attitude is gonna be for me in trying to negotiate these things. So yes, I understand the feeling of my board, I understand how they voted, and I understand the reality of the situation. Now, what else do? We walk away completely? Never. And I would never allow that. So, as I said, we have to look at it, monitor it, make suggestions where necessary. And that's how we will be able to make sure this is absorbed within our neighborhood in a safe way that benefits us all. That's right, Val?
I understand all of that and all the ramifications, but I agree with Mary Jane. Just a simple letter to say that we do not like this situation. We can't do anything
Here,
about it.
read the letter. The letter is there. How many letters do you want me to do? If you say do the letter, I do the letter. We'll do another letter beyond that.
You're talking about other things, okay.
No,
then
but
accept that.
there's other things that we'll have to do, and in your committees, you should work on those things.
Okay.
And produce the facts for me to work with, to go out and do that.
Okay.
Okay? Go ahead, Andrew, one more question.
Okay, does your letter include the lighting problem, the safety problem, the losing of the parking spaces? Does it include all that? Because we're not just saying no, we're telling them why. And we know it's not safe, and we know the lighting is a problem.
Andrew.
Does your letter include those things?
Andrew.
Because we haven't heard the letter.
Andrew, you can read the letter, okay? When I explain what the letter is about, the letter is trying to get the release of those merchants at this point, okay? Those other safety factors and all of that, we still have to wait and see what they do as a completed project. They haven't even completed that part of the project. But, as I said, we gotta take it one step at a time. Right now, in this situation, I think that the merchants, that counts for them. They don't need to be fined, they don't need to be sued, they don't need to be responsible.
All of that.
Okay? So we take it one step at a time. All right?
Okay.
And this is the step we're at now. Next month, municipal services, let's start looking for more steps to take. All right? I'm working for you. But you gotta do some work for me too.
Okay.
You gotta do some work for me too.
Mr. Chair,
What did you-
Yes.
could you take a minute, time is late, and explain to the community the objective of these bus bulbs, why they were built?
Well, again, you know, I'm repeating myself, but again, the objective was for safety. The objective was for safety for the bus riding public getting on the buses. Okay, that they're not standing in the middle of the street. And just to get an idea, if you got Google Maps, click on some of the cross streets under the L's, in any borough where there's a bus stop. And usually, you know, the Google Maps pictures, you'll see, and you have people standing literally in the middle of the street. So it was a safety issue, okay? It is a safety issue. And there has to be trade-offs, and we know that, okay? But at the same time, we do want to make sure we get the best out of it, that it's the best it could be, that it's safe. And yes, we will make those efforts too. But you know, we're starting a little late now because again, this was done several years ago when we just said no, we didn't follow up. We just didn't follow up, all right? And that's one of the things I always say. If we do a vote of no, we always have to be ready to justify our no And be prepared for if I know it's not acceptable. Because to stand up and scream and shout, make the noise, you know, you want to make noise, but it's going to be beneficial. And you're going to get the things you need. Because you can make enough noise that people just stop listening to you. And that's not the kind of board we want to be.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mike?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I wasn't going to say anything about this, but I have to. And I know I come from a biased perspective because I've worked everywhere in my life. I had a life a long, long time ago back in South Dakota. But I'm going to say a couple of things. I don't know about Bob's area. I know a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, when they put in those rail things, that was ridiculous. I don't know about the bulb situation, because I've been there. But I know about the Middletown Road, and I know about Pelham Bay. And maybe some legislation should be put in for the vendors that they don't have to shovel the snow, they don't have to worry about the water, that DOT or the city is going to take care if anybody falls, they don't get tickets for park. Maybe that's something that should be legislated. But I'm going to say something about the bulbs and New York City and about Middletown Road. You have no time frames on the map. You never did. You speak to the person that the board works with, and she says, oh, no, you do. She doesn't even know. They've never had the times when the bus comes. So people even go out there, and they don't want to miss the bus. The lighting has always been a problem. I said that when we had the buses and no service. I said that many times. Matter of fact, Andrew heard me and Mary Jane to the officer, to the captain. And then what happened? They got a robbery there, and then all of a sudden. But what New York City does, and even though I haven't driven, I've lived a lot of places. New York City, the cars come and wait for people come from the train, come and drive real fast to make a turn or get ahead of the cars in the main street, and use that little space, which makes it dangerous. And then DOT has to come up with something. And I'm going to tell you this. They don't have this in Portland, because you get a ticket if you do that. They don't have this in parts of Seattle that I was in. I don't see where they've had this. But in New York City, just like yellow means speed up instead of watch out, okay, and it's not in other places, some other places like that, they have this. And I am a pedestrian, and that's why the bulbs are actually good. And I voted for Pelham Bay merchants against my better will, and ideas. When this came up for Pelham Bay, I voted against the street for the most, which I thought was the most dangerous, but I still voted against it for the merchants of Trog's Neck. You know, but at some point in time, I think maybe I'll vote my mind and what I think protects the pedestrians, and then maybe we should work on trying to get Councilman Vacker or whatever to come up, or Senator Klein, for a state law to come up where it alleviates any liability to the vendors. But the bulbs are not bad. They are good. They are very good, in my humble opinion.
Thank you, Mike. So basically, what has been done is you all just gave yourselves one hell of a list of work to do in committee, okay? Because if you're not doing the work, I'm not supposed to be doing all the work. Not just me by myself. You know, it's 50 of us, and we all need to pitch in and use our ideas and our thoughts, and not just sit around and be opinionated. We have to work together. We have to open our minds. And you know what? What we have out there now, we're not going to have in 10 years. It's going to be different. And we're going to put our stamp on it. Let's be strong to do that. Let's do it with care. Bob, I will take your comment, and it will be the last comment.
Okay, I just want to say a couple of things. I don't want to argue the merit of whether the pubs are good or bad. You know, the idea that they take away parking and take away a lane of traffic is another issue. You don't know the traffic nightmare, and that's why we voted against them in the first place. But there's a bus boat going up on Castle Hill that's scheduled for this Saturday. Part of the reason the executive committee decided they were going to have these protests was to try and prevent the one from going in, and then as well ask for the one to be torn up that we're already in. Now, the one that's going in is really the one we expect to be able to stop. And Pete brought it up that City Island has been able to stop things with the bridge. And, you know, if you don't feel we can stop things, well, then we shouldn't even be here. There's no sense in being here if we don't feel we're